You are listening to the Marketing 32 Show with your host, Brett Allen.
Hi, Brett Allen here, host of the Marketing 32 Show, where I connect with leading dentists, dental influencers, and industry experts to bring you guys the latest and greatest on how to help your dental practice grow and thrive. This episode, as always, is brought to you by our team here at Marketing 32. We are the only dental marketing company that I know of that has a performance guarantee of grow in 30 days or you don't pay. And really, it's that simple. If we're not providing value to your practice and helping you grow, then we don't get paid. We're really about becoming integrated and becoming a partner to your practice and demonstrating that value. To learn more about us, head over to marketing32.com, set up a call, and we'll see if we'll be a great fit together. Quick shout out to Dr. Laura Schwint and Dr. Karen Tyndall. Just had an awesome episode recording with them. We talked all about mindset, personal development, and how that influences and can impact how you show up in your practice and how your team shows up. They work directly with you guys to help in that regard. So go check that interview out. Today, I'm super excited to have a new friend, Dr. Jim Arnold. We got connected through Elijah Desmond and Dr. Walter Kostrowski. I always butcher that. Yeah. Coach K.
There you go. Yeah. That's the easiest way.
Dr. Arnold is a dental entrepreneur, speaker, and founder of Foundation Dental Services, where he partners with dentists to create lucrative practice transitions and long-term success. Through luxury dental retreats and high-level education experiences, he connects growth-minded professionals with elite training and exclusive networking opportunities. With a track record of building, scaling, and optimizing dental businesses, Jim brings powerful insights on leadership, profitability, and creating a career by design. I'm super excited to have you on today, Dr. Arnold. Thanks for joining us.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me, Brad. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Excited about this conversation we'll have. I'm really eager to learn more about your career and what you did in dentistry prior to selling your practice, and then now what you're doing. So maybe let's start there. Let's dig into your background, how you got into dentistry. What was it like being a dental practice owner? What are some cool wins that you had? Tell us all about that.
Yeah, it sounds great. I got out of dental school in 96 and I joined kind of a mom and pop practice back in my hometown area. I really had no clear vision for my career coming out of school. I just wanted to be able to pay off my student loans. But, I got into a practice with kind of an older dentist who was really nice and patients loved him. But like I said, it was very much a mom and pop practice. And legitimately, I made $39,000 my first year as a dentist in 1996, which is crazy because it's not like it was 1969. It was 1996.
Like, is this what you went to dental school for?
Oh, man, it so is not. But, I guess that was the going rate at the time. I don't know. But I did that for 3 years and bumped just a little bit. But in that fourth year, I bought the practice from him. And the great thing about that was I'd had 3 years to get to know the patients really well. And I got to know the practice really well. And, spent a lot of time kind of learning how to run a practice because you don't come out of school with that skill set. You don't come out of school as a leader, as a communicator, or as a business owner. So I spent the year before we bought the practice, like really working hard and coming up with a very strategic plan, very comprehensive, and all the things that we needed to change and all the things that we needed to update so that we'd hit the ground running. And so what happened that fourth year? We hit the ground running and made probably every mistake you could possibly make because we tried to change so much, like overnight practically. It was a lot. I mean, from a financial standpoint, we did double the practice. We doubled the practice. My income went up exponentially, made more money than I ever thought possible. And for about 2 years, it was incredible, Brett. I was blown away by how many mistakes we could make and still be really successful. And I was really encouraged by that because every mistake led us to better decisions and kind of slower growth so that things ran more smoothly.
I like that. Yeah. Personal development program. You can, right? It exposes all
Absolutely.
the ways you can be better. So tell us about, so you did clinical dentistry, had tremendous success with that. I see you've got tons of awards and things on your website that you could brag about. Guys, Dr. Arnold knows his stuff. And so how did you transition from clinician, business owner to now what you're doing and exiting, helping with transitions, helping with luxury dental retreats, all of that.
For sure. We'll back up just a little bit, back to those first 2 years, and we were just crushing it. And again, making more money than we ever thought possible. And neither my wife and I, nor I came from like money or anything like that. And so it was like a whole new life. But you know what, Brett? I was so busy. I got completely overwhelmed and burned out. I mean, the money, it didn't even matter. It didn't even matter because I wasn't happy. And I couldn't even imagine 5 more years, let alone like 20 more years as a clinical dentist. It was one of those things where something had to change or I was going to change professions. And so I did. We were very intentional for about 3 years, went and got 300 hours of CE a year on average. We were all over the country, dragging my team everywhere, doing all this clinical stuff. So I felt like I was really good before I started marketing my services. We did all this practice management stuff, communication, leadership, and oh my gosh. So we were overwhelmed in a totally different way, but it was a way that showed us a path towards sort of a brighter future. Now, we cut our income in half for a couple of years, but Brett, by the time we sort of got through that stage, we were right back to where we were from a number standpoint. We were seeing 1/3 as many patients, and the overwhelm was gone because I was doing the things that I was really passionate about. All of a sudden, I'm changing lives, with new smiles and full mouth rehabs and that sort of thing. And my team was fired up and motivated. And during that time, we upgraded our team. We got the team all the training they needed. And so, we came out of that. I mean, it was not easy at all, but we came out of that like really ahead of the game at a point where the practice was really thriving. We were seeing the kinds of patients we wanted to see. Our marketing was attracting them in, and they weren't coming in for a coupon. They weren't coming in because they thought we were the cheapest in town. By the way, they knew that we were probably the most expensive in town. But when they got in, we still, we delivered. We over delivered on the promise that they, saw in our marketing or on the website. And we were so relationship based that, honest to God, people never left us. Or if they did because they were on a PPO plan that we weren't a part of or whatever, generally speaking, they would come back to us because they found that it just was a different experience going somewhere else.
Yeah, I love that you hit on that. It's like the phoenix rises from the ashes, right? You hit this burnout, and you had to go back to the drawing board and figure out, okay, how are we going to be intentional about this and prioritize and build the practice that we're excited about versus just being drained about, right?
Oh man, Brett, that was so important. And also during that same time, after I'd done all the CE, all of a sudden all these groups started asking me to come and teach with them.
Oh,
I was like, oh wow, this is exciting. Like these people I look up to and think of as rock stars, icons in the industry, they want me to join their team. That's amazing.
That's
so
awesome.
like I think 2004 to 2009, I got to teach with David Hornbrook's group. I was a clinical mentor, and I think we were teaching hands-on courses in like 13 cities around the country. And you know what, Brett? I learned so much more through mentorship than I did even as a student. Because I got to go into the clinic every weekend and help 4 docs prep big cases. And through that experience, I got so much more adept at everything, from the hand skills to the patient communication to communicating with other doctors and teams. And it was really a transformative experience for me, Brett, and led to a lot of other cool opportunities in the industry that I hold near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, and I bet that was more fulfilling for you too. You seem like more of a natural teacher and someone who wants to share and influence.
For sure.
So yeah, rather than being behind the chair and being, in somebody's mouth, you'd rather be involved with CE or, bringing other people along and improving.
No doubt. Yeah. I was on a couple of boards and helped organize like big conferences for a couple of groups and do some really fun things for larger groups and a lot of things for smaller groups. And I was part of masterminds that were like 10 docs or less. And so I had a really diverse experience, as both a student and then as a mentor or advisory board member. So yeah, all of that sort of parlays then into what I've been doing over the past couple of years.
Yeah, so let's segue into that. I want the rest of our time to be more about that piece. So how did you get into transitions and now luxury dental retreats? Talk about what it is you're doing with both of those things and how you are helping dentists with that.
So 10 years ago, I had three practices and they were all thriving, all doing really well. I had three rock star teams. I got great people, gave them the tools they needed to be successful, and they made life really easy for myself because they did all the heavy lifting and were really good at what they did. But 10 years ago, I had been approached by a few DSOs over the years.
Hmm.
And 10 years ago, a group came to me and they made me an offer I couldn't refuse. It was one of those things where, my God, I'm 45 years old and I could never imagine that kind of money in any
Mm,
other sort of way.
mm,
And I did take 5 months to vet them, did all my due diligence, and finally determined that, hey, look, what I've built is too big for a dentist to buy. And
mm.
so at some point, I'm going to have to sell to one of these bigger entities, or that's how I felt at the time.
Yeah.
And so if I'm going to do it, it's going to be a matter of what's the best deal and who is the best partner.
Right.
And I determined it was them. And you know what, Brett? They took really good care of me. I was the first doctor into their DSO, and I helped them grow it to about 79 practices. I got to see a lot of different transitions in that process and got to facilitate some of that. Over the next several years, I helped them build three more DSOs, where I was providing some of the doctors who came in at the very foundation, or I held some doctors' hands through the process, or, I kind of both sides of the table. I got to see a lot.
Mm.
And I saw things that worked. I saw things that didn't work. And so I've had an opportunity to probably be involved in about 60 deals on
Oh,
some
wow.
level. I'm not saying I
Yeah.
was an architect, but
Right.
at some level, I was behind the scenes and got to participate. And so through that process, Brett, I learned a lot of things, and so now I'm super excited to be able to share that kind of on a bigger level with
Yeah.
more dentists.
Yeah. So you're getting more into that space of helping with exits and finding the right buyers. Um,
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And so I've done that because I have relationships with some good buyers. I have relationships with some really good brokers. And so it's kind of like whatever a doctor needs, I'm kind
mhm.
of there to help facilitate that process, whatever it looks like. But then also partnering with doctors. I'm building a dentist owned group of my own right now, which I'm partnering with just really good docs who
Yeah.
have really nice practices and, have a shared vision, one where I'm not going to come in and change everything. It's like, if you already have a great practice, let's not screw it up. Like, let's just
Yeah.
keep doing that.
Yeah.
And then if we have ideas and conversations that lead to growth or lead to, even better success, then that's a great thing. And based on what I've done over the years, there's always some room for growth. And that's a really fun thing to be a part of, for sure.
Yeah. Can we talk a little bit more about this new thing you're doing with like partnering up with docs? Tell us more
Sure.
about that, and who are you looking to partner up with? Are you looking for more docs to do this and grow this with? Tell us more about that.
Yeah, for sure. Right now I'm in conversations with probably 7 or 8 practices, and I would guess we'll close on probably
Oh,
five
okay.
of them, because it's just a really good vibe, and we've got shared values, a shared vision. They're ready to transition. They want kind of top dollar for their practice, which of course I'm going to give because I'm a dentist. I know how much practices are worth. I'm not a PE firm who's going to grind them down to the last $50,000.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
and then lose the deal or lose the relationship through that process. And I've seen that happen, and not with my guys necessarily,
Mhm.
a couple of times maybe, but across the board, it's just I don't know. I think when they are responsive to like their investors, they try to get the very best deal for every single practice. Which, look, I get it, but from my point of view, I'm not like aggregating to sell in 3 to 5 years. I'm aggregating to have a great group that
A
we
big
play
group.
with long term. It's
Yeah.
like, why sell something, at least in my opinion now, something that's profitable, something that's satisfying, something that's creating great value for teams and for patients. And so when you're properly aligned like that, you're going to continue to invest in the practice. You're going to invest, time and resources and finances to continue to grow it, as opposed to trying to like snip a couple percent off the
Off the
overhead so
acquisition.
that you
Oh,
increase
yeah.
EBITDA.
Yeah.
I've always been a believer in increasing the top line. That's the best way to increase profitability, not just shave a percentage off the bottom and create situations where the team is pissed off because you're not replacing a chair that needs to be replaced, or you're
Right.
not going to that seminar that you want to go to, or you're not adding that bit of technology that will make you more efficient, make patient care better. Like, I want to do things the way I did in my practices in terms of continuing to grow and make it a great experience for everybody.
Yeah, that's awesome. You're actively pursuing more doctors to partner up with and bring into this group model, right?
Yeah, for sure. Fortunately, I've got a whole infrastructure of support. We've got support from operational standpoint, from a legal standpoint, accounting, you name it. We've got a robust team ready to support the practices in all of those areas. So, doctors can be as involved as they want to be. When I sold, Brett, I was still fairly involved because I really loved the stuff. Like, it wasn't something that I hated.
Yeah.
I still wanted to be involved in marketing. I still wanted to be involved in some of the HR, like not all of it, but and my guys, my PE guys, they took good care of me, and we had a great relationship, and I got to kind of keep doing the things I was doing, with a caveat: the stuff I didn't want to do, they
Y-
kind of offloaded for me.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of the same way in that, stuff that's working, let's keep doing. Stuff that a doctor really likes to do, well, let's keep doing it.
Yeah.
But if there's stuff that they don't like to do, well, having a great team in place that's been there, done that, is exactly what we need to keep moving forward and
Mm.
keep people from being burnt out.
Yeah.
And by the way, creating the right transition. Because the other thing with PE, they're always going to say, we need you 3 to 5 years, 3 to 5 years, usually 5. I'm like, you know what? Like, I don't want to keep people longer than they want to be there. I'd like to get a year or two for sure, but it's not like they're an indentured servant. We
Yeah.
want to like begin with the end in mind. If a doc's like, man, I'd really like to be done in 2 years, like, okay, well, let's reverse engineer that. Let's
Right.
figure out what we need to do to make sure that the practice is in good hands, the patients are in good hands, the team is well taken care of. And most docs, they want to see a smooth transition. They don't want to see their life's work kind of blow
Yeah.
up in flames because there isn't a doctor to come in and take over. And so, it's just about having real conversations and not a cookie cutter approach saying you have to do this, that, or whatever.
Yeah. That's awesome. So yeah, if a doc wants to learn more about that specific way of working with you or getting your advice somehow or consulting, where can they go for that piece? Is that Foundation Dental Services? Is that what that is?
You know, Not yet. I'm actually putting together a robust website with a lot of information, a lot of different resources
Okay.
because we're doing a variety of different projects. That having been said, at this point, they can reach straight out to me. My cell number is 219-241-4698. Best to text so we can set up time for a call.
Cool.
Or they can email me, Dr. Arnold, Dr. Arnold, at smilesbyarnold.com. So if they come
Okay.
straight to me,
Cool.
we'll figure out what makes sense to them.
We'll put that in the show notes for sure. Let's kind of segue more into the
Oh, cool.
fun, like these luxury dental retreats. This is exciting. It's new for you. It's epic. It sounds like you're wanting to create the ultimate in dental continuing education. Epic
Yeah,
places with epic consult or epic training, right?
definitely. And thanks for bringing that because it's really a passion project, and I think it's something that's been in the works for like 20, 25 years. Maybe not as a clear vision,
In there.
but I
Yeah.
mentioned, yeah, exactly. After doing thousands of hours of CE, and it all has different value. You have great things that aren't so good, and then you have things that are just phenomenally transformative. And for me, the transformative things were always small group events. Whether it was a workshop or a mastermind or just a small group lecture, that's where I always felt like I built the deepest relationships. It's where I got to roll up my sleeves and really ask all the hard questions. And by the way, anytime I had access to the speakers, like after hours, that's when I really learned and grew. Because that's when like people get real. If you're in front of a group of 100 people or 1,000 people, number one, as a speaker, you're maybe not quite as open as you would be about some of the stuff.
Yep. Hmm.
And let's be honest, as a student in a group of 200, 300, you're not going to have the opportunity to ask all the questions you want to ask. But when I was in a group of like 8 to 10 or maybe 15 at the most, oh my gosh, I could ask questions in real time. I could refer to my specific situation and get really valuable, actionable intelligence,
Hmm.
stuff
Hmm.
that I could take back on Monday and really use. Now, if I got to meet with them for dinner afterwards and that sort of thing, well, damn, that was really golden because
Yeah.
then we're building real relationships.
Yeah.
So parlay that into like kind of what we're doing now, and So from an educational standpoint, I've got a faculty of nine rock stars, by the way, people who I know really well, who are niche experts in a variety of different things in the dental world, kind of something for everybody to some degree. And by the way, I'm probably going to expand to about 20 faculty members because there are about 50 people who want to join. I'm like, I can't take everybody, but I definitely want to add some more things, some more great content. But think about this, Brett. We did one about a month ago, and it was 72 hours where our attendees had 72 hours of direct access to my speaker and me. Where no holds barred. We're talking about everything.
Pull back the curtain. Yeah.
That's right. Exactly. And with that kind of access, really the sky is the limit because we've kind of been there, done that. We've been very successful, kind of done a lot of things well, and let's be honest, made some mistakes. And so when you can have those real conversations in a small group, how valuable is that? What kind of ROI do you get when you're talking to somebody about fast tracking success by avoiding these pitfalls, but taking advantage of these, shortcuts, these things that make you really successful? And you know what? We're going to Dubai this summer, and that is a whole different level of things. So I'm fired up about all of it. It's just really fun.
That's really cool. I love that you're doing this type of approach, and anybody out there that's interested in, checking off the CE box, but yet also really getting more out of CE than just the credit, right? It's like, who was it? It was Tony Robbins talked about, condensing a decade of experience into a day, right? When you can be around people and rub shoulders with them and pull back the curtain, then you leverage their experience, not just their expertise, but their experience, like what they got into, the grit and the dirt and the ugly that really transforms and is educational. Sure, if you go to a conference and you listen to a speaker for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and you can check that CE box and you learn something great, but there's something totally different about really getting to understand an individual and taking that in, and then not to mention the network building, right? It's like you are now,
oh my gosh,
you're connected with this person in a different way than just a speaker 100%. On stage, right?
Well, and Tony Robbins also says proximity is power.
Yep.
And you want to be in the right room with the right people at the right time. And I've focused my whole career on that, being very intentional about finding the right mentors. And that always meant finding people doing the things that I wanted to do. And there was a time in my career back in like 2002 to 2008, I had a list of 17 mentors. I'm not even joking. I'm a little crazy in that regard, but I had specific things I wanted to learn from each one of them because I knew that they were so good at all of those things. And so, combine that with luxury travel because, I've been doing luxury travel with my family for 25 years. Like we like things to be a certain way. Who doesn't want to be treated like a VIP? Yeah. Who doesn't want to be in like total comfort with fine dining and, chef prepared meals? And
it is nice when you do that. It's way better than the Airbnb, right? Like, or the Comfort Inn. It's when you are doing epic luxury, it's like, wow, it's
man, yeah, it's just different. And when you're in a situation where you really want to learn and grow, it's nice to do it without a lot of distractions. The one we just did in Puerto Vallarta recently, we rented a 22,000 square foot mansion, and talk about upper scale. It was luxury to the nines, and we had 2 chefs who catered to us 3 meals a day. And just like everything we wanted was right there at our fingertips. And, this thing in Dubai, we're actually going to do a luxury resort, 5-star resort where, every meal is, first class. Accommodations are first class. All of the activities we're going to do are going to be, epic, once in a lifetime kind of thing. And, those are, like you said, those are the kind of experiences that I want to create for dentists so that they get as much out of it personally and professionally as possible. Because return on investment isn't just in dollars, although, I'm not going to guarantee this or your money back, but I can't imagine a doctor coming in and taking it seriously, building the relationships with not just us speakers, but also with one another, not going home and getting 10 times return on investment, 100 times return on investment. There's also the emotional relationship ROI.
Mhm.
And you know what? To build relationships with people who have done all these things, there's so much value in that moving forward because then you've got those people as a resource. I still have all those people as a resource 25 years later, and a lot of them are now on my faculty.
Mm. Yeah. This is so cool. I'm excited. I want to come to one of
Thanks.
these.
Hell yeah. Let's go.
So, so where do we tell people if they want to do this and they're like, wow, this is something I want to transform my CE experience into something like this? Where did luxurydentalretreats.com? That's your website, right?
It is. And right now we're really focused on Dubai. That's the next one coming up in August.
Okay.
So /Dubai will take you straight to the Dubai page of the website.
Perfect.
And, by the time people are following that, my new website might be up and running, but we shall see. If they want to, reach straight out to me, they can use that same cell phone number or
Okay.
email address. And I'm happy to answer any questions, set up a Zoom and just see if it's the right fit for them.
Yeah, we'll put it in the show notes. So if you need more info, head over to our website and you can get that website URL. You can get Dr. Arnold cell, reach out to him directly. This is exciting. I'm excited for what you're doing, not only just in these luxury dental retreats, but the way you're kind of changing the DSO model and kind of that model of group practices, and that's
I
exciting.
think
Yeah,
I think it's important, and I do think, Brett, that it's going to be a little bit of a movement. I mean, obviously, DSOs are going to be around forever, and
sure,
a lot of PE firms do it really well. Some
right.
of the big dogs who've been out there doing things for a long time, I mean, they're really on it, and they've got all the resources in place, and
Hmm.
and doctors can do really well with that. So I'm not bad mouthing the
No,
industry or
no,
private
yeah,
equity
not that. And that's what
necessarily.
I wasn't
It's
implying.
more like there have been, yeah, no, I didn't think you were implying that, but I think sometimes people kind of get that vibe from me because I talk about some of the things that have gone wrong or that
Right.
I have seen that have gone wrong. And look, man, since the pandemic, there have been some DSOs that went belly up. I mean, like when that
Yeah.
had never happened before, all of a sudden you got doctors losing millions of dollars when their equity goes up in flames. And
Mm,
that's a big deal. I mean, that's life changing. In a
mm,
profession where mental health is already shaky,
sure.
we're the number one in terms of substance abuse, divorce, and suicide. And it's been that way since I graduated or since I started school 33
The
years
number
ago.
one in
It's
all of those.
tragic.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And it might be top two or three now, but
Sure.
it's been in the top
It's
one,
up
two,
there.
three for
I've heard that stat
decades.
before. Yeah.
Yeah. And look, add to that like crushing student loan debt. And then towards the end of your career, add, hey, sorry, dude, you just lost $15 million. You just lost $2 million or whatever. Like your entire future changes at whatever age. Well, guess what? That's not good for anybody's mental health. And that's a real issue. And that's why I do think there's going to be a movement towards more dentist owned groups than there ever
Yes.
has been before. Because again, it's that alignment piece. And
Mm.
and let's be honest, I would rather have dentists make 80% of the profit as opposed to private equity make 80%, and
Mm,
then the dentists get the crumbs. They get that
right.
20%. And I'm
Yeah.
not even saying it's a bad deal. I'm just saying if there's a better deal to be had with partners that you're more properly aligned with, why wouldn't you go
Hmm.
that route? I mean, for
Yeah.
me, it's a no-brainer. I wish it had been an opportunity or an option when I was selling 10 years ago.
Yeah. I love it. I was just at an event last month in DC, Alliance of Independent Dentists.
Oh yeah.
They were harping on a lot of the problems with PE and DSO.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, like you said, there are DSOs that are phenomenal and are doing it the right way and providing
For sure.
right, but there are a lot that are predatory and harmful and are just after profit, right? And so
Well,
and the way
yes.
they were talking about a lot of these deals that sometimes get offered and pitched to dentists and how you have to be really careful on the fine print and really careful on, okay, what does it mean if you're going to do a buyout that spans 5 years and there's these different clause in there and clawbacks and things like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to be really
Yeah.
careful. So I
You
love that.
do, and
Yeah.
I think that a lot of times dentists they just go for the biggest number, and
Mm,
like I get it, you want to maximize your value for your life's work, but I always caution docs to be careful and make sure you get the right partner too, because it's
yes.
every bit as important, especially if you're going to spend 3 to 5 years tied to them,
Yeah.
um, and it's a high trust situation. I mean, I know docs who are freaking miserable with the groups that they signed on with they're miserable and wish they had gone another route. And so now I think it's nice to have options where you not only get a better deal and better terms and better kind of legacy fulfillment and maintenance, but you also just get a better partner who's more aligned with you. And there are more of these opportunities now than I think there ever have been. So I'm just happy to be on that wave right now and enjoying those kinds of relationships.
That's great. That's great. I love it. If you need help with any of this, reach out to Dr. Arnold and connect. Well, this has been fun. We're about out of time. I always ask everybody if there's one nugget, if you could share over all your experience and time in CE and dentistry, transitions, all of this. If there's one epiphany you could share that would help a doc or their team have that ripple effect that really has a big impact.
Yeah.
That golden nugget. What's that one thing that that made a big difference for you or what can you share?
Well, hey, we touched briefly on kind of mental health and how challenging dentistry is. It's a high stress career. I mean, it's an amazing industry, great career, but it's also high stress. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of doctors feel isolated. They feel like they're on an island by themselves and the only ones like experiencing these challenges. And sometimes our pride gets in the way too. It's like, hey man, I don't want to admit any of this stuff. Doctors are infamous for going to conferences and, maybe fudging on their numbers or,
Posing.
wanting to present a certain, kind of demeanor or front because they don't want to show that vulnerability. And especially men, I mean, we're just kind of conditioned not to be vulnerable. But I would suggest that anybody who's feeling that way, even if you're not feeling that way, I think one of the most important things to do is to seek out mentors. I mean, like really good ones, the ones that you think are legit. They've got the experience. They're doing things that you want to do. They can either, again, help you fast track success, which I think is really important rather than you doing it all by trial and error and making a million mistakes, kind of like I did initially. But then also just being part of community, being a part of something bigger than yourself where you've got a support network of people who understand what you're going through. And I think that if we're going to kind of fix this mental health crisis that dentistry's been in for decades, I think that community piece is super important. So find mentorship, find a community, be vulnerable, and seek out help when you need it.
Yeah, I love that. Well, this has been so great. Thank you for sharing your wealth of knowledge. Excited for what you're doing. You guys check out Dr. Arnold in the show notes, all the things we talked about. And if you need help with your dental marketing or you're growth minded and you're trying to crack that nut of how to get from 7 figures to multi 7 figures or one practice to 2, let's talk. Our team at Marketing 32 can definitely help you with that. But until next time on the Marketing 32 show, thank you everybody for tuning in, and thank you, Dr. Arnold.
Thank you, Brett. I enjoyed it.